Hello everyone, Fast Eddie here, and this video is general street riding tips. I'll be going over a bunch of various tips and tricks I've learned throughout my years of riding, and this is specifically for one of the comments I just received on my last video of what would you like to see. And I just received a comment on traffic tips and surface conditions and lane position whenever you're riding down the road, things like that. So I thought about a couple things and I drew up a couple drawings, and this is pretty much it. So street riding tips. A couple things to go over. So first, no surprise here, full gear. So one thing, if you're riding around the track, it's the safest environment, of course, because everybody's going the same direction. There's no cliff to fly off of, there's no guardrail to hit, there's no telephone pole to run into, there's no two-way traffic. The road is perfect, there's no gravel, there's no squirrels, there's no nothing. So the public road obviously does not have any of those controlled conditions. It's an uncontrolled environment. So if you weren't wearing full gear already, well, it's definitely a good time to wear full quality gear with armor in it. Not just a leather jacket because it looks cool. If there's no armor built into it, like the elbows, the shoulders, the back, the chest, well, what good is it? Who cares if it's a $600 leather jacket? If there's no armor in the elbow when you fall off the bike, you're just going to shatter your elbow. It's just a waste of money. Take the jacket back, buy a different jacket, and buy some armor, and put the good armor stuff in there. So wear full gear. That's the first street riding tip, definitely, right? So have the confidence. Have the confidence to know if something happens, you have the ability to stop very, very quickly when you're going down the street. Or you have the ability to swerve out of the way if a ladder bounces out of the back of some guy's truck right in front of you. Well, first, if there's a truck in front of you with a ladder, I'm hoping you would not be riding right behind it. Just in case this does actually happen, you don't have to swerve, just change lanes. So situational awareness, but I'm kind of jumping ahead. But have the confidence to know that you know what you're doing. Not just, oh, I took a course way back when and I ride back and forth to work, so automatically I'm a professional rider. Take a lot of courses and practice, so where if something does happen, if you're going through a green light and some idiot just blows right through the red light and doesn't see you, you know how to stop. You've practiced aggressive braking very, very hard, very fast at 40 miles per hour 1,000 times. So if you're going down the neighborhood or wherever you are and you're going 40 miles per hour and you have to do an aggressive braking, well, you've already been through it. You know what to do. Your body takes over, which is muscle memory. You already condition yourself to know how to react in a certain way, and you practiced the limits already in a controlled environment, big empty parking lot or whatever, at a course. So if it happens on the public roads with cars that potentially are not paying attention to you, you have the confidence to know that you know what you're doing. And if something happens, I know I have the skills to not have to blame myself, like, oh, I wish I would have practiced more. I should have swerved, but I just didn't know what I was doing. So having the confidence comes with taking a lot of courses and practicing. So my top two things are always wear gear, full gear, and take a lot of courses. Courses, courses, courses. These are professional instructors that know what they're doing, and they can teach you a lot of information. Even taking the same course over and over and over again is beneficial. For example, I've been through SoCal Supermoto 3 times as a student, and I've been back to that track multiple times on my own bike. But every time I've taken that course at SoCal Supermoto, I learned something new every single time, and it made me a better rider in that environment and on the street on my own personal bike. So take courses. The next street riding tip I have is being aware. So kind of like situational awareness, right? So being aware kind of goes hand in hand with surface conditions. If the color changes or if you could tell it's bumpy, just assume it's less traction in those areas. So being aware is really about other people. Have situational awareness. Don't just be going down the highway, going through your neighborhood, oblivious to what you're doing. If there's driveways around, or if there's a car that's turned on, or there's a window rolled down, the wheels are turning, pay attention to all these cars around you. Imagine these cars are going to back up in front of you, that they're not going to stop at the stop sign. Imagine everybody's on their cell phone and it's going to swerve into your lane without them paying attention. Imagine somebody is going to they're going to realize their exit is right here and they forgot about it because they've been daydreaming, and they're just going to cut across the highway. So being aware is not just you know, just freaking out and being aware. It's being relaxed and also aware of everything that's going on, looking in your mirrors, looking way up ahead, way up ahead, as far as you can see. What's the traffic like up there? Who's behind me? Who's next to me? If something happens right now, do I have the room in front of me to do an aggressive braking, or do I have to swerve? Can I swerve? Is there anybody right next to me right now when I'm on the bike? You should know at every moment how far the guy is behind you, and if there's anybody to your left and to your right, and of course what's in front of you. That's what being aware is. There's no surprises. You're predicting of what's going to happen all around you, or what could happen. So that way you could just respond to what's going on versus, holy crap, and then you have to react to it. Those are two very different responses, right? You want to be able to respond to things and make a calm decision like, I knew it. I knew that guy was going to jump in front of me. He's been on his phone for the last mile. I could tell. He's just going like this, you know? So surface conditions, if you're going through neighborhoods or construction, those are pretty obvious. The surface is going to be not as good. The grip is going to be less. So the biggest tip I would give for surface conditions that may vary or change, or if you're riding in the rain, just slow down. A lot of the stuff I'm talking about with body position and track riding and knee dragging stuff, that doesn't apply to public road. If you're just taking a right turn at 20 miles per hour, I don't even move my body at all. I don't do any of this stuff at 20 miles per hour. It doesn't make any sense to do that. It's just like if I'm really going through a fast turn, or if I'm at the racetrack, that's where that stuff really comes into play. Or if I'm riding pretty aggressively on the street. Not crazy, but just going pretty good on the street, then you could use a little bit of body position. But if I'm just taking a right-hand turn at a red light, and the light turns green, I need to make a right-hand turn, I'm not doing crazy body position. I'm looking at the ground. I'm making sure there's no pothole that's just full of gravel. I'm making sure there's not any garbage around. I'm being aware of traffic conditions. Things change very quickly, street riding versus being in an environment where you don't have to worry about the conditions of the ground. So your level of awareness needs to go up dramatically whenever you're riding on the street. All this is kind of pretty much traffic tips. I just mentioned, you know, be aware of other people. A lot of people are distracted. Every single time I get on my bike and ride, I have to do this. So I'm riding around, I have to do this. I come up next to someone, I'm just like, what the? Then I pull up next to them, and I do this almost every time I'm riding the bike. And then I go faster and just take off and get away from them. Because people are going 80 miles per hour down the highway, both hands on the phone, driving with their knee, no seatbelt, kids in the back. It's just ridiculous. It's absolutely insane. I would have to take off my shoes to count how many times I see that a day. People are just in their phones and they're flying down the highway. So just be prepared for that. Last thing is lane position. So I think it'd be better for me to draw some things out, which I did, to talk about lane position of where I ride and why. So let's see, what color would be best? I have red for direction. So the two green lines are just the road, and the blue line separates it, and the red is just showing the direction. So this is just a normal two-way street, just going this way and going that way. So whenever I'm riding, most of the time, of course, depending on the traffic or depending on the surface conditions, most of the time I'm riding right about here. Just a little bit more to the inboard side. Like if this is half of the lane, I'm riding a little bit more to the inboard side. So just in case there's a driveway right here and someone backs up into it, I'm gonna have a little bit more of a cushion to swerve or stop or make a decision. Additionally, if I see someone doing something crazy, I'll have more room to swerve the other direction in case someone on this side, oncoming traffic, does something stupid. So if I ride around right here, this is where I ride on a normal two-way street. It gives me the most option to be able to swerve this way in case something happens, or swerve back that way in case something happens. So I'm giving myself the most amount of room I feel where I'm the most comfortable. Now, as you can see, hopefully, this is a little bit different situation. This is just a two-way street when there's no cars parked on either side. Now, if there's cars parked, so the black boxes are cars, if there's cars parked on this side, on the side of the street, I see people riding around, and this is where they ride. How stupid is that? What if this guy's car door opens up? Then you have to stop or swerve to not hit the car. You know what's a better idea? How about you just ride right here? If you just ride right there when there's cars parked on the side and this car door opens up, you don't have to do anything. Isn't that much better than having to swerve or stop or versus hitting someone's car, they jump out of the car, or someone walks behind the car to get into their car? Why would you ever ride right there? That doesn't make any sense. Ride way over here. You're giving yourself plenty of room on either side of the street to react to a bunch of cars doing stupid stuff. I see people ride like that all the time, and someone opens up their door and they slam right into it. Like, oh, stupid car, they weren't paying attention, why didn't they look for me, blah, blah. You're the driver, you're the rider of the bike. Why would you ride right here? It doesn't make any sense, it's stupid. It's absolutely stupid, it's a dumb mistake. Hopefully, wisdom is learning from other people's mistakes so you won't be this rider riding directly next to a car. Doesn't make any sense. Get yourself over here. Get yourself way more of a space cushion. So without cars, with cars, the difference is, of course, I'm just a little bit more to the inside, towards the middle, if there's no cars on either side. But if there's cars on the side that I'm riding on, I am way away from those cars. I am just nowhere near them. Just in case they even pull out in front of me, at least I'm a little bit more far away, right? I still have a little bit more of a space cushion. Now here in San Diego, there's a lot of highways. You pretty much have to get on the highway to go anywhere. Well, I guess San Diego, LA, whatever. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4 lanes of traffic going one direction in a highway. Now if I'm riding on the highway, I'm usually in the fast lane all the way over to the left, and I'm riding about right here. The reason why I'm right there is if I'm right there, I could see all the way down in front of me. I could see in between the cars this way, and my mirror I could see all the way down behind me. So I could see straight all the way between the cars. I don't care if there's a car right here. Even if there was a car right here, I could still see in between the cars. That's why I placed myself right there. Additionally, if this guy does not seeing me or is not paying attention, and they just make the lane change, I'll see that person making that happen. I have a lot of room to swerve or just change lanes or do whatever I need to do. If I'm riding way over here, right, way over on the inside, and this car decides to pull out and come next to me, I'm kind of out of options. I'm gonna have to slow down really fast or brake, or if there's no shoulder, maybe go in between the car to not get hit. I don't know. I'm not leaving myself too many options if I'm way, way, way over to the left. That's why I'm usually in the fast lane right about there. Another reason, let's say there's a car here, there's a car here, and let's say I'm riding right there. Now maybe this car doesn't see me right there, and the car is thinking, oh, there's an open spot in front of this slow guy. Slow people ride in the fast lane all the time. So this car is mad, he's going around the slow guy and he wants to get back in front to be in the fast lane. But I'm way over there and he can't see me. So this person thinks there's an open spot, he's gonna come right in front of that car, not knowing I'm right there. That's another reason I ride right here, is because this car knows I'm not hiding in front of that car. You see what I'm saying? So this car like, oh, there's a bike there. Either I have to speed up and go really fast and pass him up, or I just gotta slow back down because there's a bike there. So that's if I'm in the fast lane. If I'm just cruising along, I'm usually just off center. So if this is the center lane, I'm just off to the left or to the right in the center. And I'm always thinking about, so imagine you're going downhill and you're skiing. I don't know if you guys ever skied before or snowboard. So I'm from Wisconsin, so it's snowing. It snows a lot during the winter, of course. It's really cold. And a couple times I've been snowboarding before. And if you're going downhill and snowboarding and there's a bunch of trees, do you look at the trees? Of course not. You run right into them. So when you're skiing or snowboarding, going downhill through trees, you look at the gaps between the trees, right? So the same thing when I'm in traffic. Whenever I'm riding around in traffic, I imagine the cars are trees, and I look at the gaps between the trees, and I'm always thinking, where's my escape route? Where am I gonna go if something happens? If this guy decides to just go directly into my lane, I know I could swerve over here into this lane because I know there's no one's there. Situation awareness. I'm also thinking about if something happened, or if someone's coming up behind me very fast, or a bunch of cars, I know I could do this. I'm thinking about my escape route. I'm thinking about, okay, there's a gap right there, there's a gap right there. But unlike the trees when you're going downhill skiing, now the trees are moving because they're cars. So you have to think about, it's like a video game you're playing, like some kind of fighter pilot game where you're going in between things or whatever else. But now that things are moving and you got to think about distance and time and how fast you think you can make it, or should I go around this way? Would that be the better option? And maybe like a better option, unless you notice that there's an oncoming ramp, right? Say there's an oncoming ramp right here, and I'm right here again. And something happened behind me where I need to accelerate. There's a car coming up, or there's whatever. It may seem like a better idea to go over here, But if there's a big old semi merging onto this highway, I'm not gonna go and try to beat the semi. I'm not gonna go play with the huge semi. For me, at that moment, at that time, the better option would be to switch lanes, go in front of here, to switch lanes, go right back in front of there. Because I know there's a semi coming. Someone else might make this decision because maybe they weren't aware of the semi, or just think, well, I'll just accelerate and go 120 down the freeway and I could pass up this semi, no big deal. Until you get pulled over going 120 miles per hour, that doesn't make any damn sense. So when you're riding around in traffic, it really is big time situation awareness. Where are you gonna go if something happens? What gear am I in? Look in my mirrors, who's behind me, who's next to me, where's my escape route? If this person slams on their brakes right now, what am I gonna do? Do I have room to stop? How close am I following them? Can I go in between the lane? Do I have to start lane splitting? What's the traffic looking like up ahead? I see all these brake lights. Are they going less than 30 miles per hour? Then I'm allowed to lane split in California, but do I want to? Is the road really jacked up and bumpy where I don't want to lane split? Are there a bunch of semis? I don't want to lane split between semis. Am I just tired that day? Do I not feel like lane splitting because it's a big time stressor on your mind to lane split forever? It's like, oh my gosh, a lot of stuff to think about. Sometimes I'm driving down the highway and I see brake lights. And I just see brake lights forever. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to lane split for the next 10 miles. I just get off on the highway and I just take the back roads home. Like, I don't even want to deal with this. It might take me an extra 10 minutes to get home, but that's way easier on my mind just taking the back route, going through the neighborhood versus lane splitting on this highway for 10 miles straight. And all these cars are on their phone, they're just distracted, they're changing lanes without using the blinkers. Oh, I just don't want to deal with that. Sometimes after a long day of working, I was like, I don't want to deal with all these cars. Just take the back roads home. Or don't get on the bike right away. I get off work and like, oh my God, traffic is so bad. Maybe I'll just grab a book that I brought with me. I'll just walk down to the local coffee shop, read my book for an hour. I'll let traffic die down. So by the time I get back on my bike and then I decide to go home, I don't have to lane split anymore because traffic is moving fast enough above 30 miles per hour where lane split is an option, and I'll get back home just like normal. So I mentioned a couple times, it just triggered my thoughts. So a lot of cars don't use their blinkers. I use my blinkers all the time if I'm making any lane change. If I ever cross over the line, use your blinkers. It's an amazing device that let people know your intentions of what you're thinking. I'm about to switch lanes to the left. I turn on my blinker, and this is what I recommend for motorcycles especially because we have tiny little lights. Let it flash 2 or 3 times. Flashing lights gets people's attention. After it flashes 2 or 3 times, then make your lane change. Once you get in the next lane, let it blink a couple times. Then turn it off. It lets people know, it snaps people out of their dream world because a lot of times people are on autopilot. They're just driving down the highway and not thinking about anything else. But all of a sudden they see a flashing light like, oh, hey, that's a motorcycle. Oh, they're going in front of me. They switched lanes. Okay, and now they're present to what they're actually doing. Their mind isn't worried about the past or thinking about the future. They're actually present in the here and the now, and they see you, which is a really good thing to happen, to be more visually aware, to get people's attention. That's why bright gear and white helmets and reflectors on your bike is a really good idea, especially using your blinkers. Now once I change lanes again, if I go back over there, use your blinkers. Turn those things on, leave them on for a couple extra flashes than what you would normally do. Highly recommended. People will see you more with flashing lights. Just like if you're ever coming to a stop, going back to the whole traffic thing, street riding tips, whenever I'm coming up to a stop sign or a stop light, I start to brake, I slow down, but I get on the brakes, I let off the brakes, get on the brakes, get off the brakes. And I flash my brakes, I tap my brakes 4, 5, 6, 10 times before I actually pull it to squeeze it to start to actually stop. Again, flashing lights gets people's attention. So if I flash my brake lights 4 or 5 times before I actually stop, hopefully the guy behind me will be more aware and snap out of their dream world and off their phone to realize, oh, there's a motorcycle in front of me, I need to give them more room and back up. And whenever I come to a stop sign or a stoplight, I always stop about 5 feet before the crosswalk. I stop and I'm looking in the rearview mirror and I'm always thinking, is this guy see me? Is he paying attention to what the heck is going on? Because this person doesn't look like they're gonna stop, I can go forward a couple feet. And they still don't see me, I could go forward a couple feet because I have that buffer between me and the crosswalk. And then I'm always ready to escape. So if this person, I'm looking in the mirror, this guy isn't stopping, I could just make a quick right turn and just make a right turn and go down the road so I don't get slammed from the rear. Or just take off or do whatever I need to do. But I don't understand the people for street riding tips, they get to a red light, they took their mirrors off their bike, like that's a smart idea, and it's illegal. So you take the mirrors off your bike, you go up to the stoplight, you put the bike in neutral, and they're just chilling. They have no idea who's behind them, if they're able to stop or not, and you're in neutral, so now it's going to take a whole lot longer to get the bike in gear to even take off if you are aware of the danger behind you. Like I pull up to a stoplight, my right foot is on the rear brake, I'm halfway in the clutch, halfway not, I have a little bit of gas on, and all I have to do is let go of the rear brake and I'm pretty much in gear, ready to go, and I'm looking in the mirror. Looking at the lights, looking at the other light, is about to turn yellow, my light's about to turn green. Are these other cars actually stopped, or is there someone going to plow through the yellow light? And I'm looking at my rearview mirror. I'm just constantly aware. Green light, red light, who's behind me, are they stopping? And once that light turns green, I look both ways, everything's good, checking out behind me, bam, I can take off. There's no green light turns on, pulling the clutch, hit the first gear, and then you start to take off. That 2 seconds that you had to do all that stuff, maybe someone wasn't paying attention and didn't see your little bike sitting there, and they're going 70 miles per hour, they just don't see you, and you just get smacked from the back. It doesn't make any sense. Keep your damn mirrors on your bike and be aware of who is behind you. Anything else, it just doesn't make sense. And the things I've heard before of, oh, it looks cooler. It looks cool without the mirrors. I just don't like the way it looks. You know, stop hating on people with no mirrors, bro. Why do you do that, bro? You know, do what you want to do. You know, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's gonna look really cool when you get smashed from the back from a car because you don't have any mirrors on your bike and you're not paying attention in the first place and your back's broken, your legs are shattered, and you're in the hospital for 6 months. That's pretty cool. So I'm the dummy, right? I'm the dummy for thinking these things and encouraging people to wear gear and take courses and actually learn how to ride the bike versus trying to look cool in your jeans and a t-shirt with no gloves on, revving your engine up and down the beach because you think that's impressive to people. It just makes you look like an idiot. No one I know looks at someone doing that and like, oh, that must be a really intelligent rider. Man, I want to go talk to him. That guy must be really, you know, I want his autograph. I want to go talk to that guy. He must be so interesting to rev his engine and get all that attention. He seems like a really well-rounded guy. He seems like a good guy. Nobody thinks that. Everybody thinks you're just an idiot for riding around in the t-shirt and revving your engine and blah, blah, blah. And it's always the guy on a red CBR or a sport bike or wherever the hell with some ridiculous exhaust going up and down, up and down. They have no idea how to ride. They've probably never been to a track before, and they just make all of us, motorcycle community, they make all of us look ridiculous because people start to stereotype everybody based on that guy's behavior. That's why I'm making these videos. If you didn't watch my other videos, I'm trying to encourage people to wear gear and take more courses so the perception of motorcycle riders is not that. That is not me. I do not encourage people to buy exhaust because it's pointless, or to wear no gear, or go up and down the same street back and forth to try to impress people. All that stuff is ridiculous to me. I don't do any of it. Learn how to ride the bike, and you could do really, really cool things on the bike. You take courses, you go to the track, you can help people ride, and the main thing is to help prevent crashes on the public roads. On the public roads. If you go to the racetrack and you crash, very less chances of getting seriously hurt. You crash on the public road, you fly off a cliff, you're probably going to get hurt or die. It's just that simple. You go wide in a right-hand turn, there's an oncoming car coming, head-on collision, good luck to you. You're going to get hurt very badly, even if you're wearing $5,000 worth of gear. Hit a truck head-on at 30 miles per hour, that'll probably be your last right-hand turn you got. So it's ridiculous. And again, it's their life. There's the same bike that goes up and down this right here by the beach where I live. The same thing goes up and down, up and down. One of these days, that guy's going to stop doing that because he's not going to be around anymore. He's going to be in the hospital, or he's just going to get a whole bunch of tickets and have $5,000 in fines because all the ridiculous stuff he's doing, wheelies and stuff. It doesn't matter. So those are my street riding tips. Full gear, take some courses, be aware of idiots out there, be aware of surface changes, totally aware of your whole surroundings, know what you're doing. Be aware of two-way street. If it's empty, if there's cars, don't park or don't drive near cars if they decide to open up their door and you can't react in time. Just make better decisions. And where you are in a four-way lane highway or more on a highway, and where are you placing yourself? Again, I like to place myself over here so I can see all the way down, straight line through in between the cars, and so other people can see where I am. So they don't just assume there's no one there and pull out in front of me. Right, so you just got to make the decisions based on what you think is correct and what's the safest way. Always having a plan and not daydreaming. A lot of people, they pull up to their house and they get to their driveway and they turn off their car and they're like, man, how did I get here? I just drove 10 miles. I don't even know how I got home. They're on autopilot. Like, they just have no clue how they got home, and who knows what they did illegally or what they're doing. They don't know. They're just comatose. They're just not paying attention to anything. They're just doing the same motions over and over again every single day, the same route home, and they're not paying attention, especially to a tiny little bike that they can't see or they're not being aware, and they're not aware of in the first place. So you really have to take responsibility for yourself and know your limits. What are you weak at? What are you not good at? And find those things and improve specifically on those. I'm not good at U-turns. Spend the entire day tomorrow, Saturday, spend the entire day in a parking lot doing nothing but U-turns. Do figure eights until you can't possibly do a figure eight wrong. I'm not that good at traffic. I don't like riding in the rain. Go spend 3 hours in the parking lot when it's raining. Do aggressive braking in the rain. I don't like riding when it's really bumpy. I get really freaked out. Go find a road that's bumpy and go back and forth on it for 3 hours straight. You'll learn how to ride with bumps. You'll learn how to relax your hands so you're not death gripping the handlebars. Like, oh, my hands go numb. It must be the suspension. It must be the road conditions. You could ride down the worst possible bumpy road there is and your hands will never go numb once you learn to relax your hands on the handlebar. It has nothing to do with the bike. Your suspension could be horrible. You could have the worst bike in the world and there could be potholes every 6 feet. But if you're death gripping the handlebar, that's what's going to make your hands go numb. If you just have a loose grip and you're relaxed on the bike and just let yourself bounce around a little bit, your hands aren't going to go numb. So little things like that. Find your weaknesses and make an effort to improve them. So I hope this made sense. I hope this gives you a little bit more awareness for street riding tips. If there's anything else I missed or you'd like to comment or say, please feel free to comment below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.